Hey David, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, David. It's a pleasure to be here.
Right, so we're just going to start off by letting us know a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what got you started towards the path of military, and why you're here.
Sure. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
Nice.
and I was a member of my high school band, and I participated in the world of drum and bugle corps at the same time. And a friend of mine called me from Washington, D.C. He said, "Hey, Dave, you really should come to Washington, take an audition. I think you'd be a great member of the band." So I flew to Washington and auditioned. They accepted me, and I performed with the Marine Corps as a trumpet player from 1966 to 1969.
Okay.
I was selected to be the ceremonial bugler at Arlington National Cemetery, and I also performed in the summertime. We had two major performances when we were not on tour during the rest of the year. We performed at the Marine Corps Memorial, which is commonly referred to as the Iwo Jima Memorial, and I would be on top of the memorial to play taps at the end of the performance between the band and the silent drill platoon. That would happen on Tuesday evenings, and on Friday nights they had what was called the Friday night parade. It was interesting barracks where I was stationed. The barracks, as this emblem indicates, 1801, it was the first Marine Corps base in the United States. It was established in 1801, and it houses right on the base, which is about 2 blocks square. The Commandant of the Marine Corps has a mansion, and there are 3 or 4 separate mini mansions along the length of the barracks, where senior generals are housed. And on the other side of this huge parade deck is the actual barracks for the Marines. At one point when I was in the Marine Corps, the silent drill platoon, our musical organization, and something that they called MCI, which was Marine Corps Institute, which was basically a Marine Corps academy where Marines from all over the world could, in an online environment, take courses, which was really a great educational experience for Marines in the field. And once again, on Friday nights, we would get out there with the silent drill platoon, and people from all over the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, Maryland and Virginia would come in, and it was free to the public, and they would set up bleachers as you would see at a football field. And it was basically a 2-hour presentation. I felt that my role in the Marine Corps, after basic training and advanced infantry training, where I qualified as an expert with a rifle and a pistol, now I was in public relations, musical public relations. And I felt very good about it. When we were in Washington performing locally, the crowds were very receptive, and we were on the road during the months of the year that were not in the summer. Wherever we traveled around the country, we were well received, especially at a very difficult time during the Vietnam War, where the public was divided as to, where are we as a country, militarily and otherwise. When I finished with the Marine Corps, I decided that I wanted to pursue music as a career. So luckily, fortunately for me, the GI Bill paid for my 4-year college education at Berklee College of Music in Boston. After graduation, actually during my time, I started playing with a number of different bands all around Boston, and I made a lot of connections. And at the same time, I was still linked to my prior military experience by playing taps at military funerals. I became involved with two organizations, one called Taps for Veterans, another one called Bugles Across America.
Yes.
And to this day, I still do it. I'm down when I get a message that they need someone to play taps at Bay Pines in St. Petersburg. As long as I don't have an obligation otherwise, my wife and I drive down there, and I'm privileged to play taps for a fallen veteran. After Berkeley, I was a high school band director, and I continued to play with various bands in Boston and throughout New England. Someone gave my name to Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And between 1970 and 1972, I was on the road with Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. I played with a number of other really talented acts. I did off-Broadway shows that were at what's called the North Shore Music Theater. And then I migrated into healthcare. It was a very interesting transition because I had really no experience in healthcare, but I wanted to do more than just music education. And I wound up becoming a director of marketing at a rehabilitation hospital. That migrated into a position at another hospital in the Boston area as the director of contracting. And then after 20 years of that and almost 20 years of teaching, I retired. I met my wife while I was in the healthcare business. We've been married now, this year is 25 years.
Congratulations.
We've had a great marriage. She's a wonderful woman. And I've had a wonderful trip in this life. I'm dedicated to helping veterans. I'm dedicated to helping other human beings. If I can bring music into the equation to help people feel better about themselves, I often bring my horn into restaurants when we're going to a restaurant for dinner. I'll bring it in case someone's having a birthday or an anniversary. I'll take out the horn and I'll sneak behind them, and next thing you know, I'm helping to celebrate their event. It's a surprise to them, but everybody in their party is excited, they're excited, and I'm happy to do it.
I would have liked to have that at some of those places. That would have been very interesting, different birthday.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. So let me ask you this: as far as military experience, what have you gotten from the military that you would say was very impactful to your world?
Well, I think what I think of in response to your question is probably pretty close to what most veterans are feeling, and that is a development of self-confidence, discipline, dedication to a mission, whatever your mission is in your life, whether you're a career Marine or a career service person, or you're a professional or a tradesperson, whatever you are doing post-military service, you do it with a sense of pride, you do it with a sense of dedication, and you do it with a sense of commitment. And I don't know if I would have had that if I hadn't had the Marine Corps experience. Boot camp and advanced infantry training in the Marine Corps is fun.
A lot different than the Air Force.
Perhaps. Yeah.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what was it like growing up for you in Philadelphia?
Philly was great.
Yeah.
We came back. My wife and I just came back yesterday from 2 weeks in New York City. She's from New York City. Again, I'm from Philly. But 2 weeks before that, we were in Philadelphia for a couple of weeks. And Philly is a great city. I happen to have an affinity to cities. There's sports, entertainment, there's the arts.
Go
the
Eagles.
people, you know, and in Philly you got the Hoagies, you know. My mother and father.
Geno's.
Well, my mother and father had Joe's Luncheonette when I was in junior high school through high school at 8th and Rittner in South Philadelphia. He would get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and he'd have a giant piece of steak, and he would stand at an electronic slicing machine and slicing fresh steak. So when people came in for lunch and later in the afternoon, my mouth is watering.
Yeah, I gotta stop hungry right now.
He would make the greatest. I know Pat's and Geno's, they get all the publicity, but hey, my dad, my father had the best hoagies. Whether it was an Italian hoagie or a steak hoagie, unbelievable. I had a lot of close friends. I grew up in a predominantly Italian neighborhood, and towards evening, some of the older Italian guys would get together right outside my father's luncheonette, and they'd stand on the corner and they would sing doo-wop, the real thing. They would be singing it right there. Yeah, yeah. Another, thinking of doo-wop, even though he wasn't doo-wop, Bobby Vinton. I played a gig with Bobby Vinton in Boston. I was hired to do that at a big hotel, and I met with him. We all met with him before the gig, and I said, "Hey, Bobby, I'm from South Philly." He said, "What?" So as he started the show, he had a big crowd there, and we played his opening number. He finished the opening number, and he got on the mic and he said, "Can you believe it? Here I am in Boston, and the lead trumpet player here is from South Philly." So it was a kind of funny thing.
Worked out well.
So there's always a connection to me between music and people, personally between music and the military. I take pride in performing at all of the military holidays throughout the year. And I'm a staunch supporter of the 9/11 tribute, whether I was in Boston or now that I'm here in Pinellas County. I'm always out there with my horn, paying tribute and honoring those first responders that lost their lives.
Yeah, that's actually how we met, when you were at Curlew's Hill Memorial Center for Memorial Day.
That is correct.
Playing
Yeah.
famous taps.
Yeah.
So in fact, would you mind getting a little bit of taps right here for us on the way up?
Sure.
David, thank you so much for your participation, your bravery, your service, and your dedication to helping out the rest of the veterans out here. Thank you for your time here.
It was a pleasure and an honor, and I deeply appreciate the opportunity to do this with you, David. Thank you.
Thank you.